Welcome back. My name is Andrea Madeira and I'm the founder of Entry Prep, your all-in-one solution for preparing MBA or master applications to top business schools. In our last video, I introduced you to the first letter of the BEST method, backsolving, a strategy that lets you reverse engineer answers and avoid unnecessary calculations. But that was just the beginning. Today I'll share two more strategies that are absolute lifesavers when you're stuck, running out of time, or facing a tricky question you don't want to brute force. These are the kind of tools that can save you 2 to 5 minutes over the course of your exam, and that's often the difference between a good score and a great one. So let's talk about the E in BEST and how this strategy can transform the way you approach specifically the verbal section. E stands for eliminate. Most test takers read the argument, try to remember a rule, and then jump to the answer choices, hoping one feels right. But top scorers? They do the opposite. They work from wrong to right systematically, ruling out what doesn't work. But let me explore this strategy with a type of questions called critical reasoning. Work from wrong to right here will mean to spot choices that are out of scope. Identify choices that are too narrow or too generalist. Or even identify extreme language, like for example, always, never, must, all. And also to eliminate answers that repeat the conclusion without even strengthening or weakening it. And lastly, watch for choices that weaken instead of strengthen, or vice versa. Your job isn't to pick the perfect answer, it's to knock out the ones that are clearly wrong and let the best one rise to the top. So elimination means that you spot wrong answers fast, use logic and not gut feeling, and you narrow down choices when you are under pressure. So let me give you a few examples so you can better understand how this strategy works, especially on critical reasoning. So I have here a question we can work on. Let's start by reading the question. So which of the following two most seriously calls into question the effectiveness of company Z's new approach? So this is clearly a question of weakening. So what we want to know is to find an option that will weaken the effectiveness of company Z's approach. So let's read the argument. After failing to attract significant interest in its eco-friendly laundry detergent in Asian markets, Company Z decided to reintroduce the product under a new brand name. This time, the company invested heavily in a rebranding campaign calling it EcoFresh, the powerful clean with a green conscience, and launched a major regional marketing effort to promote it. So we want to find an option that is going to put this in question. So this strategy may not work when one of these answer choices is true. So let's see the first one. So remember here, we want to work from wrong to right. So you want to eliminate answer choices at the first reading, leaving at maximum 2 so we can choose after. So let's go to the first one. In any Asian countries, overall demand for pH-neutral, eco-friendly laundry detergents have been declining due to the growing popularity of laundry capsules and alternative cleaning solutions. This might seem a good option to you. However, really pay attention to one specific thing here. Here they are saying about or talking about pH-neutral, eco-friendly laundry detergents. But in the text, they only refer to eco-friendly laundry detergent and not pH-neutral. That means that this option is too narrow. So they are talking about a very specific kind of eco-friendly laundry that are not specified in the text. So you can eliminate this one because it's too narrow. Now, answer choice B. Due to budget constraints, Company Z's marketing team plans to scale back the campaign after 1 year. Even if the company scaled back the strategy or the budget after 1 year, that doesn't mean that it's not going to work on the first year. So this one doesn't weaken our approach. Now, answer choice C. In a similar campaign launched in Australia, EcoFresh became one of the top 3 best-selling detergents within 6 months. This option here do exactly the opposite of what we want. So we want to weaken effectiveness of Company Z new approach, and this one could strengthen that effectiveness. However, even if this was a strengthening question, you should be really careful because this worked in Australia, and working in Australia doesn't mean it's going to work on Asian markets. So this one we can eliminate. Now, answer choice D. In Singapore, EcoFresh managed to gain 8% market share despite limited promotional support. Once again, this one do a strengthen of the effectiveness of the new approach of Company Z and not a weakening. And even if this was a strengthening question, you should be careful because this one is just working for Singapore. And Singapore is one specific example of Asian markets. It's not the total Asian market. So this one we can also eliminate. So at this point, we are left with answer choice D, E. We already eliminated 4. Don't do the mistake of not reading answer choice E. Read it because you could have made a mistake before and you may have crossed the right answer. So always read all the answers. So let's read E. In several Asian markets, consumers associate strong cleaning power with chemical-based formulas, not environmentally friendly products. Well, this could really seriously call into question the effectiveness of Company Z's new approach, since they are rebranding like a powerful clean with green conscience. So if people don't see these kind of properties together, their regional marketing efforts may not promote their eco-friendly laundry detergent. So answer choice would be E. This is calling into question the effectiveness. Let's do one more. Let's read the question first. Which of the following, if true about M. virida, provides the strongest evidence that the plan will succeed? So now we want to do exactly the opposite as before. So we want to provide a strong evidence of the success of a plan. So this is a strengthening question. Let's read the argument. A deadly tree disease in Westwood Grove is spread by a type of wood-boring beetle. The beetle itself poses no direct threat to the trees, but it carries the spores of a destructive mold that kills major oaks. Scientists have discovered a naturally occurring bacteria, M. virida, which infects and kills the beetle's larvae before they reach adulthood. As a result, forestry officials plan to introduce M. virida into Westwood Grove to protect the remaining healthy oaks. Well, so our plan is to introduce the bacteria in the forest to protect oaks that are not affected by the disease yet. So we know that it's not the beetle that provokes the disease itself, but the beetle transports a mold, and that mold kills the major oaks. However, we know that there's a bacteria, M. virida, that can affect the beetle larvae before they reach adulthood. So if the M. virida attacks the beetle, what we are going to have is less beetle and of course less mold, and probably we are going to preserve the oaks healthy. So let's see which one of these strengthens the plan. So answer choice A. It is commonly spread by squirrels and other animals that regularly travel through infected areas. Well, this might be an option. So we know that there's some animals that are traveling through the oaks and can spread the M. virida. So let's keep this one. Answer choice B. It can remain inactive in tree bark for several seasons before affecting beetle larvae. Well, this one is not strengthening. This one is weakening because if it remains inactive during long periods of time, that may not bring plant success. So this one we can cross. Its reproductive rate increases during the same warm season when the beetle larvae are most active. So here they are saying that the highest number of the bacteria is at the same time of the higher number of beetle larvae. This can also be a choice, right? Because if we have more larvae and more bacteria can destroy beetle larvae. Answer choice D. It does not affect beetle species that do not carry the mold harmful to oak trees. This is completely out of scope. We don't want to know, or it doesn't bring evidence of success of the plan to know that is not affecting other beetles. So we can cross this one too. This is completely out of scope. And now answer choice E. It can be neutralized by several types of commonly used tree fertilizers. Well, if the bacteria could be neutralized by fertilizers, and especially if they are common, this is not bringing us evidence of success, but the other way around. So this would be a weakening option. So now we already could eliminate 3 of the answer choices. So we kept A and C. So A was about the spread, and spread especially on infected areas. And we want to preserve the healthy oaks, so regions that are not infected yet. And C talks about the number of bacteria that is increasing at the same time as we have more beetle larvae. So if we want to use the strongest evidence for the plan to succeed, answer choice C would be the best one. So to spread doesn't mean that it's going to kill the beetle larvae. So my next example is from the quant section. I put this example here to show you that we can work from wrong to right, or to do elimination, not only on the verbal section, where this technique is super important, but also on the quant section or even data insights. So we have that a local library, the ratio of volunteers to full-time staff members is 2:5. If 4 more volunteers join the team, the new ratio of volunteers to staff would be 3:5. How many people currently work at the library? So we know that the ratio of volunteers to full-time workers is 2:5. And this is a ratio. We know that 4 more volunteers joined the team, but we cannot add these 4 to the values we have on the ratio, because 4 is a real number and 2:5 is a ratio, so they are the minimum values possible. But we know that with the number of workers we have here is a multiple of 7, and when we add 4 more, we are going to have a ratio of 3:5, so we are going to have a number of staff that is a multiple of 8. So let's practice elimination here. They are asking you how many people currently work at the library. You know absolutely that this value must be a multiple of 7, so you can eliminate already answer choice A and answer choice B. So 21, 28, and 35 are multiples of 7, so let's keep them. Now you know that if this was the number of workers, by adding 4 more, you would have a multiple of 8. So let's test the answer choices. Let's use a little bit of back solving here now, after you eliminated A and B. So for 21, if you add 4 more, you will have 21 plus 4, this is 25. This is not a multiple of 8, so it's not this answer. Answer choice C, 28. If you add 4 more, this is going to give you 32, and 32 is divisible by 8, so possibly D is our answer choice. Just let's check E to be sure that is not this one too. So 35 plus 4, this is going to give us 39, and 39 is not divisible by 8. So clearly our answer choice is D. But I want to prove to you that T is really the answer choice. Let's do the algebra. When you have a ratio of 2:5 and you want to add or subtract individuals to this ratio, you need to use a multiplier. So let's call it x. Multiplier here would be an integer that multiplied by both the parts or the whole is going to give you the real number. So now you add 4 volunteers. So here plus 4, and the new ratio is going to be 3:5. So let's solve this equation to understand what is the value of x. So 5 times 2x plus 4 is going to give us 10x plus 20, and now 5x times 3 is going to give us 15x. So you have 5x is equal to 20, x is 4. So now we have a total of 2 plus 5 people times 4. So 7 times 4 would be the total number. That means 28, the same result we had before. The truth is, in verbal, specifically under time pressure, elimination is often faster and more reliable than trying to solve the question outright. But as you saw, you can also use it on the quant section or on data insights. And this brings us to the S in best. Smart guess. Here's the truth. Even top scorers guess on the GMAT. The difference is they do it strategically. Smart guessing means using patterns in the answer choices, like for example, odd versus even or positives versus negatives. Avoid the extreme or outlier values. Picking the most GMAT sounding answer after quick elimination. And trusting logic when the time is short. And careful, because this is random guessing, it's not desperation. It's an educated decision making under pressure. And the key is to stay calm, to recognize when to guess and use logic to make the highest probability choice. But of course, let me show you a few examples that you can see how this works. So in my first example, for consecutive integers a, b, and c, where a is higher than b and b is higher than c, which of the following cannot be the value of a squared minus b squared times b squared minus c squared? First of all, when you have these kind of questions of which of the following cannot be, the first thing you should do is take a look at the answer choices. What comes here immediately to my eyes is that all the numbers are odd and you only have one even number. So there's here an outsider. That would be answer choice C. In these kind of exercises, if you are really running out of time, you could select answer choice C, leave the question marked, and then come back there if you want to prove that this was the right solution. However, if you have a little bit more time, you can try to figure out if in this particular exercise you can have this operation giving you even numbers, since that what pops from the answer choices is that you only have one even number. So let's test it. So you have three consecutive numbers. C is the lowest one and A is the highest. So let's put here C, B, and A. You could have the option of starting with a number that is even. If that is the case, B would be odd and A would be even again. But if you start with an odd number, B would be even and A would be odd. Now, here in our expression, so A squared would be an even number squared minus an odd number squared times an odd number squared minus an even number squared. Well, here, an even minus an odd is going to give us an odd. An odd minus an even is going to give us an odd. An odd times odd is going to be odd. Let's check if we start by an odd number. So odd squared minus an even squared times an even squared minus an odd squared. So this is going to give us an odd number again, and here the same thing, and odd times odd is going to be odd. Independently of having even, odd, and even, or odd, even, odd, the only possibilities we have to this kind of operation is having a result that is odd. So with this, we could prove that our answer choice is going to be C. There's no possibility of this operation with three consecutive values give an even number. At a certain company, the average annual bonus payout varies by department. The 30 employees of the marketing team received an average bonus of $25,000. The 15 employees of the finance team receive an average bonus of $40,000, and the 5 employees of the executive team receive an average bonus of $60,000. What was the average annual bonus received by all 50 employees? You could have two different strategies here. One is to do the calculations. So you have 50 employees, 30 received 25,000, so 30 times 25,000. Now you have 15 receiving 40,000 and you have 5 receiving 60,000. Now you just do this calculation and then you divide by the number of employees, the total number, that is 50. You can do this approach. However, let's use smart guess. You have 30 people receiving 25,000. You have 15 people receiving 40,000. And then you have 5 people only receiving 60,000. You have more than half of the people receiving 25,000. So this means that this value is pulling the average to the value 25. So the result must be closer to 25 than to 40 or 60. And this means you can eliminate answer choice E, D, and C. And of course, 25 is too much because even though you have 20 people receiving 40 or more. So our answer choice is going to be B, for sure. So you are doing smart guessing, you are not doing the calculation, but by the values you have here, you are sure that the answer choice is going to be B. If you do this calculation, you are going to confirm that answer choice is B. So if you notice, this kind of strategies save you a lot of time and avoid doing a lot of calculations also. And of course, this is reducing your prone to error during the exercises. So let's do one more. Imagine you have two off-road jeeps, Jeep A and Jeep B, start from locations that are 190 miles apart on a rugged desert trail. So let's put here the distance between Jeep A and Jeep B. So this is 190 miles apart. And now Jeep A departs 1 hour before Jeep B and drives at a constant speed of 15 miles per hour. Well, in this situation, I usually use a table where I can put the values of speed and distance and time traveled by both Jeep A and Jeep B. Let's put our equation of the rate here. So rate times time is going to be equal to the distance. So Jeep A was traveling at 15 miles per hour. So let's write it here. Now, Jeep B departs later and travels at 10 miles per hour, heading directly toward Jeep A. So they go toward each other. When the two Jeeps meet, how many miles has Jeep A traveled? So we want to know how many miles or what was the distance traveled by Jeep A until it reaches Jeep B. So let's call it D here. So if A is traveling D miles, B is traveling all the rest. So that means 190 minus D. So let's write it here also. So now focus on the time. So we know that Jeep A departed 1 hour before Jeep B. When they crossed, Jeep A was already traveling T plus 1, while Jeep B was only traveling at T time. Did you get this? So if Jeep A departed 1 hour before, when they met after traveling the same time T, but A 1 hour plus because it departed 1 hour before. Now, you have two equations, two unknowns, you just need to find D. But what if we can use smart guessing here? Imagine with me, if both jeeps departed at the same time and they were traveling exactly at the same rate, where would they meet? Exactly in the middle, right? So they would travel exactly the same distance. So our total distance was 190. If you divide 190 by 2, the result is 95. So let's back to the answer choices. So what you know here is that Jeep A departed 1 hour before and was traveling at 15 miles per hour, so 5 miles per hour faster than Jeep B. So A must have traveled more than the half, for sure. So you can securely eliminate answer choice A, B, and C. Now we still have two answer choices. You could do back solving now on the equations with these two answer choices, but let's see if you can keep doing smart guessing. Now imagine one thing, even if they were traveling exactly at the same rate, just by the fact that Jeep A departed 1 hour before, since it is traveling at 15 miles per hour, he would travel during that hour 15 miles. So Jeep A must have traveled more than the half plus that 15 miles. So 95 plus 15 is going to give us 110. Lower speed, it must be higher than 110. So it cannot be answer choice D, and our only option is answer choice E. So 120. If you want to be sure, just do this operation and find the value of D with those two equations. The result is going to be 120. So now you know 3 of the 4 tools in the BEST method. B for backsolve, E to eliminate, and S to smart guess. These strategies are designed to work together to help you stay flexible, make fast decisions, and never freeze on test day, even when the GMAT throws something tough at you. And in the next video, I'll show you the final piece of the puzzle, a strategy that completely changes the way you approach abstract, variable-heavy problems. It's practical, it's fast, and it's one of the most powerful tools for managing time and reducing mental fatigue on test day. Until there, in our WhatsApp group, I'll be sharing with you real examples with full walkthroughs, tips you can apply immediately, and extra content from our full GMAT Live online course. I'll give you access to the next video soon, so stay tuned. And remember, you're learning strategies that actually move the needle. So keep going, you're doing it the right way.